Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a video for you that is one part Apex Legends and one part Call of Duty Cold War. And before we jump into the topic, I wanted to let you know that this video isn't designed to be a dig against COD or an anti-COD kind of hate video, but rather it's just a topic that keeps coming across my, life, and it's a reality that I have to deal with as an FPS gamer, which is that getting good at Call of Duty has probably made me worse at other FPS games because the mechanics that I mastered to be good at Call of Duty don't translate well to those other games. The aiming system in Call of Duty is very good and it's very intuitive. If there is anything that this series has ever done right, it's mastering casual gunplay. Everything about a Call of Duty gun, everything about the HUD, the crosshairs, the aim down sights experience, all of it is very simple, it's very straightforward, and it makes sense without having to think or train or practice. For the most part, the bullets are just going to go wherever your dot is. And what happens with this, and especially when other games want to emulate Call of Duty success and they want to make their gunplay COD-like and their game kind of look like COD and appeal to COD fans, is that COD players will go play other games and falsely assume that the aiming system that's in place for Call of Duty works in those other games, whereas they do not. For example, Battlefield and Valorant have radically different gun systems so that the skills that you master as a Call of Duty player won't translate well to those games. We're going to talk a lot about aiming systems, but I do want to talk about FPS skills in general. If you think about FPS as a genre, the number one skill you can have is good aim, good tracking, good reaction time, good snapping, and then a little bit more than that, there's good positioning, there's knowing how to track people in close quarters combat when they're kind of bunny hopping around you and you want to know, and they're kind of like trying to take advantage of FPS camera angles. In Battle Royale, there's good rotations. And Call of Duty will allow you to learn and master those skills, but in a way that really benefits your play in COD and not so much other games. So if you get really good at Call of Duty, you can find yourself in a little box all on your own away from the rest of gamers. So let's take a look at Apex Legends versus Call of Duty, for example, and I think that these two games actually have more crossover between them in terms of gunplay than other games on the list today, just because they have shared developers. And let's start off with a Call of Duty player. Let's say this is a high-tier Call of Duty player. We're talking traditional 6v6 COD, a little bit less so on Warzone, so somebody that's maybe like trying to go pro. What they're going to learn is very fast snap aim, but on a slower target. COD players and COD hitboxes don't move as fast as a lot of other shooters, so you do get really good reaction time and snapping aim onto targets, but not ones that are bouncing around and flying like crazy. Then you have to track that target for a relatively small number of shots, because it doesn't take that many to kill and you'll kill them pretty quickly. The number one tracking skill that you'll have to master in Call of Duty is dealing with people doing the close range bunny hopping, trying to take advantage of like camera field of views and stuff like that, but you'll get rewarded simply for repositioning. You'll also be rewarded for putting a lot of full auto body shots in somebody. The headshots are not worth it on all Call of Duty guns in all situations, a little bit more so in Warzone, which is why I don't think that's the most applicable example, but for years and years and years, we've all been trained that headshots are only one less shot to kill, so for all the trouble, body shots are probably better. And in some games, before they had leg multipliers, shooting legs and knees was probably the easiest thing to do because the legs are big and fat and juicy, and when they're moving, the hitboxes are big. The recoil is going to take you up anyway, and man, I was deep into Modern Warfare 2019 still shooting legs because I was doing that for years. Typically what you'll do is shoot somewhere between 10 and 15 bullets, reposition and get ready to pick the next guy off, and you will learn reposition quickly and head glitch positioning. Now let's take a look at Apex Legends. One of the things that they'll have in common is that they both reward the fast snap onto a target because they both reward shooting first in almost any engagement. However, instead of a slow-moving target, you're going to be tracking a fast-moving target that might have a couple of abilities. The overall sidestepping, running, sprinting, move speed in that game is significantly higher, so you have to track something somewhat more erratic, kind of like trying to catch the snitch in a game of Quidditch. And you have to also keep in mind that these players that you're tracking may have abilities that allow them to jump or speed up or teleport or fly or something, which makes the tracking that more difficult and makes it, gives you a little something extra to think about. The next difference is that you're going to have to track that target for more total shots. Because they have a higher amount of health, or at least the game in general has a lower time to kill, the engagements are longer, the shots to kill take longer, and you're going to need to track those to get consecutive body hits and take your enemy down. And this is something that I am genuinely terrible at. I don't think that my tracking is even medium tier for PC players. I really, really struggle with this one. And you get rewarded in Apex Legends for a lot of headshots instead of body shots. Shooting the body and the leg typically doesn't do very much. I don't think that they have leg multipliers for most of the weapons, but the headshots are massively rewarding, whereas in Call of Duty, it's not so much. So really good Apex players start kind of getting used to going for headshots more often than not. And after you've killed somebody, the skill set that you learn is to quickly re-gear and reposition for the next fight, not so much sitting behind a head glitch, but just grab the armor and get ready for the next guy that's going to jump on you, because you're going to be repeating that fight immediately. And instead of repositioning from head glitch to head glitch, what you're probably going to learn after playing a whole bunch of Apex is how to push a squad, how to find a weakness in their position or a vulnerable person to pick them off, and how to really engage and push that squad into the ground. And I think that's a more valuable skill than just bouncing from head glitch to head glitch. Now, in this example, the Call of Duty player is going to be really good at setting up a position and blowing up people's legs and then moving to the next position. The Apex player is going to be really good at preparing for a battle between true FPS titans that are going to take a little bit. So, when each of these players get bored of their respective games, they're going to swap roles. The CoD player is going to go to Apex, and he is going to struggle. It's going to feel like everybody has a ton of health. He has to track for all these different shots, so I have to track this target for a whole 2 seconds instead of just kind of hovering over them for a few milliseconds and letting the aim assist doing the rest of the work while the gun sprays in full auto with low recoil. The CoD player is going to be going for body and leg shots, which is going to be much less effective than headshots in most cases, and he's probably not going to know how to push people really well in a higher health kind of game like Apex Legends. Whereas the player that's really good at Apex Legends is going to go to CoD. They're going to have that same fast snap ability. They're going to be able to very easily track Call of Duty players that are moving slower than what they're used to, get the shots on. They'll probably go for headshots because they're used to Apex headshots, which might be a little bit of a detriment to them, but it'll still kill faster, at least in Warzone and in some Call of Duty games with some guns. And they're going to feel very comfortable with CoD because the biggest problem that they're going to run into is people trying to like bunny slide and knee hop past them and do like advanced movement like movement streamers in Warzone, but they're already going to be kind of used to that in Apex. So the Apex skills that you developed will translate really well to Call of Duty, but the Call of Duty skills that you developed won't translate very well to Apex. Now that's one example, but the same story is true of pretty much all FPS games. If you take a look at Call of Duty shooting mechanics compared to other games, it kind of goes like this. Call of Duty guns have hip fire and aim down sights, which is pretty normal for most shooters. Aim down sights, for the most part, is very low recoil, and the bullets always go where your crosshairs are pointed when you're aim down sights. The bullets always come out right where that dot is, no matter what. And the only sort of inaccuracy that you're going to get is if you're shooting very long range, the projectiles might drop, but that's kind of normal for FPS games these days. And projectiles aren't super relevant for the close quarters combat situation that most gunfights in CoD entail. So you point, you aim, you click, you shoot, the bullets go where you think they're going to go. If you were to take this same attitude and go to Battlefield, what you would find is that guns still have hipfire and ADS, but some of them have oddly tight hipfire that you're encouraged to use instead of aiming down sights. When you do aim down sights, it'll look just like Call of Duty, you'll think just like Call of Duty to go full auto and track the guy and put the dot on their body or head or whatever. But in this game, you get aim down sights inaccuracy, but no HUD to tell you that's happening. And they do this to simulate reality. In reality, if you're sprinting with a full auto assault rifle, shooting it in full auto, you're going to have a lot of inaccuracy. Nobody's really going to be that accurate when you're like full blown running through a battlefield shooting 5.56 at everybody. So you'll go full auto, and full auto actually magnifies the aim down sights inaccuracy. It's kind of like having a bonus hipfire box around your reticle, and it's going to make your bullets go all over the place. And this happens to me. People get close to me within COD range, I'll snap, I'll lock onto their body, and I'll just full auto dump into them. But because I'm going full auto, my bullets are going to go sideways and crazy. So what you have to do for Battlefield is master the tap fire and resets for when you're aiming down sights. And of course, they have projectiles that have been very important to the series for a long time now, but my opinion on those is that they're too slow. Then if you want to take a look at something like Valorant, it has essentially CSGO aiming mechanics where your crosshair is kind of like a starting point. It's a little bit more of a guideline. The hipfire box is that you see visually on the screen with the HUD is not the same as your actual hipfire spread. Those are two different things. Your hipfire spread's invisible. Why it doesn't show me that, I don't know, which is why a lot of people disable it. And then while you're aiming down sights, your crosshair will kick up and move around and stuff. But where the crosshair is pointing isn't where your bullets are going to go. Your bullets are going to kick independent of the crosshair, and what you're supposed to do in this game is master the recoil pattern and pull down so your crosshair will be like at chest or like hip level when you're going full auto, and you'll get a headshot like that because you've mastered the pattern as you pull down. Overwatch goes in a completely opposite simplistic direction, where most of the characters do not have aim down sights COD-like abilities, and for the most part they're effectively very easy hipfire kind of mechanics with hit scans, and it's way easier than Call of Duty. The thing is, even though I have opinions about all of these different aiming systems because I've played FPS, mostly COD, for so long, and I have preferences, they are all very different, and there are different gamers that enjoy these different systems for different reasons. But when Call of Duty is the biggest FPS title and we get used to Call of Duty skills and Call of Duty aiming, and then we play a game that very much so emulates the Call of Duty aesthetic, we expect that same system to carry over and get different results. So when we go play other games, they feel weird, they feel off, they feel unrewarding because we're using the shooting mechanics wrong, or the skills that we've developed only work in one game, and it can be very hard to unlearn what you have currently learned. I, for example, have migrated from console to PC. I think I've been a PC gamer for about 2 years now, and I still lose close quarters combat fights in FPS games because I expect controller aim assist on PC. I have played with controller aim assist for so long in my life. I am so used to, in close quarters combat, as long as the crosshairs are close, that it should kind of lock and snap. And even after years of training, my brain falls back into that mode because of what it kind of expects. And in the same kind of way, I've never been able to master really good tracking on fast-moving targets. It feels like something that's almost impossible for me. I don't think it is. I think I need to spend more time in aim labs. But it takes a very long time to unlearn these habits, and my brain, even after years, still kind of expects or wants there to be auto-aim on COD, even though I'm playing on PC. So the point of all of this is that this fall there's going to be a ton of new games coming out. We're going to have Call of Duty Vanguard. Vanguard's going to have a new Warzone map, which might have new mechanics. There's going to be huge releases for Battlefield, for Halo. I do not know if X-Defiant is coming out this year or not. And a lot of the other FPS titles are going to be dropping big updates that we're all going to want to play. And in order to be prepared for that, to have a good experience for that, we're all going to need to be ready to unlearn what we have learned, to open our minds up, and to be ready to try out different FPS mechanics. And my recommendation for you is, if you're planning to do that this fall, you should probably try out a few different titles beforehand, or at least research and learn about how different these aiming systems and skills can be, and kind of shake your brain up a bit, kind of loosen up, get out of the COD mindset, get ready for it, because this fall is going to be so good for shooters. I honestly can't wait. This whole video almost sounds like a betrayal to COD, like I hate this, or I'm complaining about it, or I'm mad that I invested all my skill points in COD. But the reality is, this is just me thinking about how much I have to learn to get good at all these other games that are coming out in the fall, because I think Battlefield and Halo, at the very least, are going to be awesome, and I want to play them, and I want to make content for them, and be good at them, and do Call of Duty stuff at the same time. So I have so many different skills to learn. Alright guys, that is all for this very rambly video. I hope that you have enjoyed it. I hope that you've learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.